Hi, my name's Maryann Ezeh. I'm from Nigeria. I'm 21 years old. The Nigerian culture is based on respect. It's based on being perfect. It's based on growing up fast. You're expected to sort of know everything about life while you're young. You can't make mistakes. If you make mistakes, you'll get hit and things like that. But growing up, I found that my parents, we went to a lot of events, especially like church events, and they'd always dress up in like the African attire, and you could tell it was like a big thing we were going to based on what level of clothing they were wearing. While we were there, we took loads of pictures of like family members. There's like a family portrait of like us and then my siblings, my parents and my grandma, who actually came to this country a few years back and she didn't like it. She prefers the warmer climates, and I don't blame her, to be honest. But when we did finally arrive in the UK, we initially came with my mum, and it was great. We were with family and we have really amazing memories, like me trying to learn, well, posing with the violin but not really knowing what I was doing, just to take the picture really. And it was really great. We had a lot of really good memories, but when my dad did finally join us, things kind of changed. Like, he kind of saw how advanced the country was, especially in the education world, and he just wanted us to get a lot out of it. He didn't want us to miss out, because he knew that back in Nigeria, we wouldn't have had the opportunities that we did have. My relationship with my dad, my parents in general, I think it was a very objective relationship. It was like, they're my mum and dad, they're here to provide for me and feed me and clothe me, but then that was it. There was no intimacy, there was no kind of like love, and it just didn't feel like it. I mean, we did laugh a lot, and my dad is a joker, so there was always laughing, but at the same time, you always had that feeling like something's not quite right. And I think as we started going to school here and you'd witness other people with their families, like other kids, you'd be thinking, wow, like that mum just hugged her child or kissed the child on the head, and you just think, oh, my mum never does that. Maybe she doesn't love me. Like it was weird to be thinking these things, but that was what we were thinking. Like, there is like one picture of like when my dad first built our foldable table. Like, he literally built us a table where we could go and like do our revision, homework, and you don't see in the picture, but on the wall where the stairs were, there was like a blackboard, so we'd have lessons as well. They were, I think, thinking about it now, they were helpful, but maybe his approach and how, I wish he wasn't so aggressive with it. I wish he was really like understanding and really paid attention to our strengths, rather than kind of pushing us and hoping we were going to be those A-star students. In secondary school, because everyone wore makeup, because everyone had a certain amount, like length of hair, I wanted that. I wanted to be like everyone else. I didn't want to have to stand out. As I started to watch people, I started to realise, okay, long hair was in, makeup was in, and being popular with everyone was in. So I think I was starting to feel suffocated at home, because my dad was always on my back. If I was watching TV, he'd be like, why are you watching TV? You could be doing other things. So I think it got to the point where he had enough. He felt like he was losing me to the ways of the world, and he'd had enough. So the day he shaved my head, we were all praying in the living room, and he basically came down really angry, saying that I wasn't praying loud enough, and basically attacked me. Like, he was swinging for me and stuff, and I had to block him. But that's when I kind of saw a different side to my dad, and from that point it kind of escalated, and he ended up shaving my head. And the thing is, shaving my head, okay, I did take it to heart back then, because my hair was everything to me, but it was the way he did. It was the way that he did it. After I went through everything that I went through, I did I was depressed for a long time. I would lock myself in my room, I would cry, I would have suicidal thoughts. I just wanted to end it all. But thankfully I had like amazing friends that would just always encourage me and like tell me, you know what, you're still alive, there's still a chance for things to change. But unfortunately, that only lasts for a while and then you go right back to where you are, because there's people who want to bring you down. Like family members constantly brought me down. They always used to say that, yeah, everything happened, it was your fault, you know, your parents shouldn't have had to go through that, it was wrong, this and that. But they didn't really know the story. So it was hard because now I started to blame myself. I saw everything as being my fault. So that put me more in a dark place. But I think one day I was just like, do you know what, nothing else is really working for me. Things that I would do to try and make it go away just wasn't working, and that's when I kind of like saw God as my last resort, and started praying. And I remember I'd just go downstairs and we have like a little altar in our house, and I would just fall down and just cry and ask him like, why? After all of this drama in my life, and it started to mean more to me like why I was going to church, and I wanted to do my part because I did used to be an altar server, but you kind of grow out of it, and the choir was the only other option. I always used to love singing. Like when I was in school, I used to write songs with my friends. They were really awful, but it just kind of like encouraged me more, maybe as time went on, to kind of like go back into singing a little bit. The one thing I would say that I learned is don't let it bring you down, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You decide what happens. You decide whether you're going to let something affect you to the point that it did, and you then decide whether you're going to keep using that as an excuse. Like I used to say to people, oh, because my dad did this to me, this is why I'm a failure. Like, no, use everything that has happened in the past to push you and to remind you of where you came from and where you are now. And honestly, it's sad, and I do get emotional about it, but only because I've come so far. That's literally why I cry. I'm not crying because of what I went through, but because I've come a long way and I'm proud of myself. Yeah.